if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be a sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib using no hands. Oh shit, it feel like I'm floating, but I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My niggas making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found shit of them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see it when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She wants the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion of garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing. I'm sure I relate to the red and pink.
Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Snell, Big Nate Sports Talk, with another video presentation. This is episode 16, season 10 of the podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're doing something productive and also to taking a time this weekend to do something for yourself. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I would like to say up front. You should have seen the AFC and NFC preview for football. Sunday football officially starts tomorrow. I'm excited. Those of you should already have went up by now. We also tuned in for Maryland football. We destroyed SMU today. 50 points, 40 points on the Maryland football. Go Terps. Washington Mystics. Coach had his media availability, and I have that video out. I'm hoping to have that out probably at y'all by tomorrow, hopefully Sunday afternoon. And then we're going to get into Maryland basketball. Obviously, that'll be down the road. And then also to the Ravens versus the Jets and the Commanders versus the Jaguars previews. So be tuned in for those videos. But also to take this opportunity, I brought back my go-to guy, the man with the plan, the man, the myth, the legend, Brenden. What's up, baby? What's going on?
What's up, man? Big shout out to the Terps. Also, big shout out to the Cougs. Got the big dub against Wisconsin today. Go Cougs, baby. We roll.
I love it. I love it. In this video, it's the finals. Brenden is finally upon us. I didn't think it would take a game 5 to determine who was going to be in the finals, but what I expected last year in the finals, it happened this year. And before we get into that, we're going to break down what happened in game 5. I was completely flabbergasted from what I saw. And the last, at first, it really started off as an ugly game. Really quick, the final score was 72-63 Connecticut Sun. Where do I begin? The first quarter, it wasn't really a great game, really for a great quarter. It looked ugly. I didn't like the way the offenses looked. I mean, game 5 was it was just a scrap. This was more about guts and pride and determination. And Connecticut had the upper hand. I mean, Brenden, I'm coming to you. I think the only thing that stood out to me was that ugly third quarter performance by Connecticut. I mean, they were down by 11. I mean, what did you see in game 5?
Yeah, first of all, going back to game 4, they did exactly what what caused them to lose that game. They had the record for most paint points or points in the paint in Game 4, so that was a big reason why they won, and it's a coincidence after the last game they had before that. But I think going into Game 5, obviously Chicago was bound to win this game, and then Connecticut made it interesting, and everyone loves chaos. So Connecticut, they've always been in these games during the series. They just couldn't pull it out, and I think that was true 2 games ago. And they pulled it out in Game 5. But I want to give an apology, and I want to give a congratulations. So first of all, congratulations to you, because the video where I said Chicago was going to sweep Connecticut, I bet the Sky watched that video. That's the first, or I'm sorry, not the Sky. The Sun watched that series. The Sun watched that video. Everybody watched that instead of film one day. They watched that video. So that's number one. And I apologize to the Connecticut Sun, because I underrated you guys big time, and they proved me wrong. And they did not lose period. Never mind losing in 3 games. So I'm just as surprised as you that out of these 2 series, this one was the one to go to 5 games.
I also like to take the opportunity to apologize to Connecticut too, because I said shout out to keeping the 9450 Women's Basketball Network. I said I had no confidence in Connecticut winning Game 4 because the way they looked in Game 3 and Game 4 and Game 5, they completely showed me something different. So my apologies, ladies.
Well, I think they were sorry. I think they were just as mad as any other fan was. They were just, you could see it after they lost that game. They were pissed.
Definitely, and I agree. I mean, you got to give Kurt Miller some credit on that, but also too, like Alyssa Thomas, Brianna Joe, all of them. I got to give them their flowers. Like when it mattered, they all knew, like, hey, like we lose this game, our season's done. I just like just the fact that they stayed poised and they stayed the pace. I mean, just in that game, they were on the defensive pressure of the ball. I mean, they just overwhelmed Chicago. Claire Copper, those last 4 minutes, I mean, did everything in her power to keep the team together. And I think also too, I think when the double technical when Dewana went up for the and one, I thought that definitely changed the momentum of the game. I thought that was when the game was over, honestly and truthfully. I mean, just turnovers. I mean, Chicago couldn't really. I mean, those 4 minutes, they couldn't buy a basket. I mean, that was very, very disappointing. And I mean, if you're Chicago, give me what do you think is the key? Because I still think Candace Parker still can be an efficient player. I think she can contribute to any team. Allie Quigley, Courtney Vandersloot, Dana Evans, question why she wasn't getting minutes. This Sky team is going to definitely look a little different next year. What are your thoughts?
Well, I first wanted to go back to what you said about the Connecticut Sun, and this is 2 different situations. If Connecticut loses this series, their season's done, but they're a team that could definitely blow it up. They could, and you saw that after Game 3. They just looked defeated, like nobody wanted to be there. Kurt Miller wasn't the guy for the job at that moment. He was telling first of all, that's not what you tell your ladies during a huddle. Like, what's it gonna, if I'm gonna lose my job if we can't make a layup. That's when it's all bad. So if Connecticut loses, maybe they blow it up. A team like Chicago, they got the rings. They have a ring, and every single player on that team will be fine. They'll be fine. Yeah, it sucks to lose, but they're a team that'll be fine. I'm not reading into anything. If you watch the video after they lost, I'm not reading anything into Candace Parker immediately leaving to go to the locker room. I'm not
No, I'm
reading
not reading that neither.
anything into that. She left the locker room and everybody else huddled up and just broke it down from there. So I'm not reading anything into that. I really, 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 really hope that was not her last game in the WNBA.
I hope so too.
And I don't think it will be.
Mhm.
But man, if we lost Sue Bird, Sylvia Fowles, and Candace Parker in the same season, along with other GOATs in other sports like Serena Williams, like
Mhm. Let's not
wow,
forget about
what?
Brianne January.
Yeah,
Forget about
Brianne January as well. Yeah, yeah, that would be absolutely horrible for the WNBA, but they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I agree. I think there could be changes. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Sloot. Hopefully she comes to Seattle because we need a point guard. But no, we'll see. But I think you could be right on changes coming in Chicago, but it wouldn't be as bad as if Connecticut lost.
Right. Because again, when you win a championship, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to pay players. Azrae Stevens, we're gonna, we know she'll look for her bag. Rebecca Gardner, definitely think she'll get paid. Like I said, the team's a little older too. It's not easy to repeat in this league because everybody got better. So I just look at it from the standpoint of, this is an off season where don't keep your head up. Like you said it. I believe Candace Parker will be back as well. It's just, I think you saw some struggles this season, and I think their level of composure. I didn't also read. I'm not sure if you're in that post game. I did not read into Kurt Miller taking a shot. I understood what he was trying to say. It took. I've beaten her, but this was the year I've beaten. I think it was just his. It was a poor choice of words, but I understood what he was trying to say. And I thought it was kind of like, oh, well, we hang championships, not conference championship banner. I was like, oh, okay. So that was, I thought that was, I'm like, oh, okay. And again, really quick, can't blame the referees. I hate that when you lose in the playoffs. Oh, if these referees call this, that. Like if you're getting fouled or fouling, that means you're doing something wrong as a player. So, hats off to Connecticut, and Chicago. They will be still be a strong team. Just got James Wade knows what he's doing. He just has to just reset and just say, okay, this is my goal for next season.
They didn't give out Executive of the Year to just anyone. I'm just letting you guys know. There's a reason why he won this award, and if you're a sulking Chicago fan, then just know you got the Executive of the Year on your side. So,
yep. And we're going to move into our next subject. Asia Wilson was named MVP. It was not surprised. I was not surprised. We both called it. Most people were pushing for Breanna Stewart, and honestly and truthfully, I was surprised when I saw the votes. I think she got 31 total votes compared to Breanna. I think she had how many MVP?
23.
Thank you.
23.
I was also surprised we had some other people on that list as well that were considered for MVP. I was a little mind boggled by that. What were your thoughts on the votes?
First of all, shout out to Natasha Cloud, 1 4th place vote. That a girl. Yes. But listen, I said this the day before they announced the MVP. That was coincidentally or that was coincidentally the day that Seattle lost to Vegas. I was pushing for Breanna Stewart, and I had every reason to. Outside of being affiliated with the Storm, she led the league in points. She was atop the league in steals, and I mean, she was a do-it-all player. And I said this on social media the day that they announced, or the day before they announced the MVP. They gave it to the player that is the best player on her team with the best record on her team. Whether you like it or not, Seattle finished fourth in the regular season. And I mean, yeah, Breanna Stewart had a better season. I think she had a better season statistically than Asia Wilson. But I was just it went to the more popular player this year, I think, to Asia Wilson. Both players deserve this award. I said either one of these winners would have been a great choice. A not great choice would have been if Kelsey Plum won it.
Yeah, I wanted to also get into that. She had 181 total points. She finished third. Alyssa Thomas was fourth. Candace Parker was fifth with 78 total points in voting.
Yeah, so I mean, she honestly, tell all truth, all Kelsey Plum's not even the second best player on her team. That would be probably Asia Wilson. Chelsea Gray's probably number one. But no, congratulations to Asia Wilson, second MVP. That's not many. I don't think any guards have done that. But all of them have been bigs. So that's a huge accomplishment for Asia Wilson. She definitely deserves it. And she's 26. She's 26. The future it's hard to view Asia Wilson as a future, but the future and the present is bright in Las Vegas as long as Asia Wilson is in uniform. So congratulations to her. But I've seen a lot of banter between Asia Wilson fans and Breanna Stewart fans, and that's usually between Vegas and Seattle fans. And this isn't the NBA. This isn't like Embiid and Jokic. That's what this was compared to, where this player sucks and this. But no, this is a situation where both of these players are amazing. Both of these players are great at what they are doing, and every single player in this WNBA league loves every other player in this league. They love them as people, and they respect them as players. So it's time for the fans to do the same. If you're an Asia Wilson fan, at least respect Breanna Stewart, and if you're a Breanna Stewart fan, respect Asia Wilson. Like that's all we ask. You don't have to like the Aces if you're a Storm fan, and you don't have to like the Storm if you're an Aces fan. Just respect Breanna Stewart and respect Asia Wilson for and their performances for their teams.
Yeah, I second those thoughts. I just didn't appreciate the goalpost movement that Asia Wilson was getting. That's really Kelsey's team. It's Chelsea's team. And no disrespect to Seattle, but Breanna Stewart, I kept hearing she has no help, but she had 6 other Olympians around her. But that's, I think that's where trust your eyes, and just like nobody like Asia for the season of transition. Liz Cambage leaves, she moves to the 5, and just being a defensive anchor is she's doing more for her team, but also too is she embraced the challenge. Both players did. Like if you like, when you look at these votes, I'll be honest, I was surprised it was that close. You could really kind of see the Breanna Stewart uh, band really pushing, but I would also really like to painfully point out that Arika and Gubawale only had 1 point that was a 5th place vote. That's really painful. And I like Arike, but come on now, you could at least give me like a 3rd place vote, something. Damn.
After looking at that, I apologize to Natasha Cloud because I got it wrong. It's a third. I'm sorry. I take that back. It was a 4th place vote. My bad.
Yep.
Yeah, my bad.
Sabrina Enescu had 10 5th. Wow. Whew, Jesus. Skylar Diggins Smith had some love. She had 5 third place. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Now, the All NBA teams, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Really quick, what does your All NBA teams look like?
I think I think are they doing it positionless for 4 and 5, correct? So they're doing
painfully.
Okay, so Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson, they'll be probably unanimous again. 4 and 5. Boy. I think I'm gonna put Skylar in there. Skylar as well. Probably Arika and Sabrina in there as well. Depends on. See, when I do teams, I look at strategies, but I might look at putting Natasha Cloud in there, maybe for defense.
She was already on the defensive. They already had on the defensive team.
Gotcha.
This is just all NBA. This is all
Yeah,
NBA.
yeah.
So you're going with Breanna, Asia.
I think that's what I'm going with then. Yeah.
Okay. Skylar, Asia, Brianna, Sabrina.
That's a good one, Brianna Jones.
No, Breanna Stewart.
Okay.
I need somebody else. Alyssa Thomas.
Okay. I respect it.
I just want to see what when they come out. I want to see if they get it right. Because Skylar should be all first. Should be considered all first because she practically put that team on her back. And should have if she's not all first, yeah, I'm hiding under a rock.
Shout out AP. Shout out to the AP people over there.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move it. Let's actually transition back to Seattle because it's interesting offseason for your Storm. I'm gonna give you the floor. Just before let me just give an introduction with it. So, coming into this offseason, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be I call it a year the summer the winter of transition because starting next season, according to this in the CBA, that really interested to read. There's something called a prioritization rule that pretty much states that everybody that goes overseas has to report back here to the States by a certain date. If they fail to report by that certain date, they are suspended for the year without pay. And all 12 teams have free agents, and we're going to talk more about this after the finals. Myself and Brenden, so be tuned in for that. But Seattle, they got some free agents, and Brenden, let me give you the floor. What does the outlook look for Seattle?
Yeah, so pretty much you explained what the prioritization rule was. If you miss training camp, or if you miss the start of training camp this year, you get fined. That's the rule this year. The rule in 2024, so the next season, that's when they get suspended the whole year. So that is an issue for long-term deals. So currently, right now, the Seattle Storm have 2 players under contract, and the 2 players are Jewel Lloyd and Mercedes Russell. Mercedes Russell is the longer-termed player by 1 year, and now Jewel Lloyd is the longest-term Storm in franchise history. But so one of the key free agent obviously for us is Breanna Stewart, and there have been talks that she might go to another team, mainly New York, because that's where she's from, and I don't believe she'll go to New York, even though she took a visit there. I don't think she'll leave from Seattle, but I'm just as nervous as anyone, being a Seattle fan, that she might leave. And I think leave is a bad word. I think she could hold out, and it's because of this prioritization clause. If she goes overseas, if her schedule, or if she goes overseas, her schedule most likely won't allow her to play in the postseason for whatever team she plays overseas. And if you are, or you're Breanna Stewart and you're given the option of going overseas or playing in the WNBA, you're going to pick overseas because they pay significantly more overseas. And they have, I believe, more benefits. I could be wrong about that, than the WNBA. But Sue Bird said it perfectly in her exit interview. There are 2 sides to this clause. There's the bad side, which I just explained, but there's also a good side. Sue Bird explained that having this clause as an option, or as a rule, doesn't start, or starts negotiations for the new CBA. And the new CBA, compared to the last one, gave the Storm a whole lot, gave the WNBA a whole lot more as a league. They gave them 100% maternity leave. They gave them a major bump in salary. So like other stuff like that. So that doesn't start without the prioritization rule. So I mean that's the good and the bad. And she also labeled out for the good. As a player in the WNBA, that's all you want to do. That's the only league players need to play in is the WNBA. And I agree. I think there's work to be done for the WNBA to get to where it's to the 100% to the player's liking, but that's the prioritization rule. I think everybody who's a Storm fan should be more worried about that and Brianna Stewart and to add another one, Gabby Williams. Because in her exit interview, she said, if I'm given the two options of returning to Seattle or going overseas, I'm chasing overseas every single day of the week. So that's a perfectly understandable answer. So I think there's a 13th team in this league that could take away Seattle's players, and that's the new prioritization clause. And I would be worried about that quote unquote team more than any other team in this league about taking our players away.
Well, a couple things I want to add on to that. I'm not a fan of the CBA because the middle tier players, like for example your Erica McCalls, your Kayla Davises, they're kind of left out um, in terms of certain things. Like, yes, I get it, different things, money, more money, benefits, all those things, great, which is great, but we really shouldn't be at a point to where you're now kind of forcing me to stay if I'm making more money overseas. Even though I'm not a fan of them going overseas, I don't like it. But I understand money, you got to make your money. When I look at some of these contracts, as you see here on the screen, when you if you got a star like Brianna Stewart or a like that, that should be a problem because when you look at other stars like Enrique's signed, but people are going to they're going to get paid. Like for example, like Brenden Jones, whether she stays in Connecticut or departs for free agency, she's going to make more money overseas. But you're kind of forcing her. You're kind of forcing her hand, like, well, I'll give you this contract, but if you're not backed by the start of training camp, you ain't getting paid for the year. But I do think that the prioritization rule it's kind of going to open up a can of worms because now that hurts you if you're trying to make a roster, and that kind of puts your team, it kind of influxes your team a little bit because now you're kind of scrambling like, oh, I don't have this player, that player. Now I gotta find and replace them. I just go ahead, Brenden.
Oh yeah. So you talked about looking at the players who are signed like Enrique, and we talked about the prioritization rule. Look at going back to Brianna Stewart. She just finished second in MVP. She very well could have won that. What would have happened in the NBA? If a player finished second or even won MVP, they most likely would have gotten a mega extension. Brianna Stewart, or multi-year extension. I'm sorry. Brianna Stewart can't get extended multiple years because of this clause. Because if she stays on the same schedule on a long-term deal, she is going to lose a lot of money playing for the Storm for not being able to or for being suspended for the whole year. So she can't get a long-term extension.
Do you think she leaves Seattle or she stays? I personally think she'll stay.
No, she'll stay. She loves Seattle. She loves what they've done with her and how they treated her for her tenure. And I mean, talking and hearing everybody talk around the Storm organization, Coach Quinn, even Sue Bird, Jewel Lloyd, even it sounds like she's going to stay. And I'll tell you what, something that should give Storm fans a lot of confidence in Brianna Stewart's, if she were to return to the WNBA, coming back to Seattle, Jewel Lloyd's there.
Yes.
And they are, yes, the big three is no longer a thing. But Jewel Lloyd's there. And that duo is very, very close on and off the court, as much as they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Coach Quinn in her exit interview talked about forming a new big three with a new point guard. She didn't give any specifications, obviously, but that that duo is not going away if Brianna Stewart does return to the WNBA.
Right. And then last point before we move into the next subject, you guys are gonna start off the season. Well, the new salary cap is gonna be a little under. It's gonna be $1.4 million. She'll have a good cap space of a little over $1 million, which is good. So we all know that the priority is definitely re-signing her. But really quick, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 free agents. Obviously, Sue's retiring. I did want to ask this question, and we got to move into the next subject. What were your thoughts on Tina Charles not declining to not be a part of media availability?
Yes, I wanted to talk about this. So we talked about Candace Parker leaving the locker room or leaving for the locker room after the Sky loss and not reading anything into that. I'm thinking the complete opposite about Tina Charles. She, out of everybody in the Storm organization, besides the GM, she was the only one to not be available for the media. It sounds like Coach Quinn had a good conversation with her. That's what she said in her media availability. I do not think she will be back. I don't know the health of Mercedes Russell. I just know she's under contract for next season. If she were to play next season, I am very, very excited for Ezzie McMcGore because I want her like any other fan to be unleashed. And if we've seen the potential of her being unleashed, she's almost the defensive player of the year. I think she is if she plays a full or starts a full season. So I do not think Tina Charles will be back. This action shows that she's done so many actions to show that she's a ring chaser. She also wasn't around the bench when they were sulking and all that after the loss. So that's when I kind of knew, like, okay, she's gone after the season. So
I hear you. I do. I don't want to say ring chaser. I mean, she's made it vehemently clear when she even got to Washington that her focus is to win a ring. I just think that she'll probably run it back with Seattle again next year. It wouldn't surprise me if she goes to a team like it wouldn't surprise me if she reunited with Washington or somebody. But I don't want to say ring chaser. I mean, she's made it vehemently clear she wants to win a ring, and I think if she stayed with Seattle, if she signed with them in the first place, I think it would have been I just think the way they signed her in the midst of the season, instead at the beginning of the season, big difference.
Yeah, I agree. Ring chaser is such a bad term, or like a bad term that sounds negative, but I mean, in Tina Charles' case, it really wasn't. I was saying this back when we first started, that hey, we needed Tina Charles and she needed us. So that was the situation. And I can see where you're coming from when you say you wouldn't be surprised if she re-signed with us. So I
Right?
totally get
No,
that.
no, I knew what you were trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we're going to get into the finals preview. We'll be right back with you with this quick break. And we are back. The WNBA Finals is set. The Las Vegas Aces versus Connecticut Storm. How did we get here, ladies and gentlemen? Couple things. Las Vegas. We go back to, the off season. Becky Hammond named head coach, and Becky said something in the postgame after they won. Individually, she challenged them to be better. They finished the number one seed. They were the league's best offense. Asia Wilson was your MVP. You had all-stars in Kelsey Plum and most improved player Jackie Young. Dearica Hamby, even though she got hurt, all-star. To sweep Phoenix, Chelsea Gray not getting snubbed, not making the all-star team. Chelsea Gray has been on a tear. I look at Connecticut, and I'm coming to you, Brenden. The fact that they finished the game on a 22-2 run in Game 5, that would have been their third straight year had they had lost in the semifinals. Defense has been the key for Connecticut. Offense is the key. Has kind of been the elephant in the room for Connecticut. Well, what are you looking forward to in this series?
Yeah, I'll tell you the thing that I'm looking forward to actually. Someone in this series is going to win their first championship.
Yes.
That's the thing I'm most looking forward to. Obviously, Seattle was tied with Minnesota for most franchise championships with 4. And then Chicago, obviously the defending champions. So someone's going to win their first championship. And I think we were talking about the Vegas and Seattle series, when this first was decided, that this was going to be a series. And Vegas, I think, we both said that winner was going to win a championship. I think majority of the world who watches the WNBA knew that series winner was going to win a championship. I think that will be the case. That being said, I would not be surprised if Connecticut won, just because it's the finals and it's crazy and it's going to be really good basketball to watch. But I don't. Although this could look like a sweep, I don't think it will. I think this is going to be a good series. I'm very excited to watch this series for sure.
I'm excited for it too. I just have a couple issues. Kind of there's some gray areas. Las Vegas has some depth issues. That's one. How is that going to affect Las Vegas? I'm curious to see defensively how Connecticut will slow Chelsea Gray down. And then you hit the third one. This is mostly everyone's first championship for both sides. I think the key for Las Vegas, Dearica Hamby. I'm looking for her to have a big role. When the new role that she embraced, she did average under 10 points, low over 7 rebounds. I think her not there. I think you could definitely see a strain on that lineup. Like to have Kia Stokes out there and Raquan Williams, you're really only 2 key bench players out there. So I think getting her back is key. You could agree with me on this. John Paul Jones, we need to see which one we're looking for from her. Because now she's was the reigning MVP.
Now that I'm thinking about it, back-to-back MVPs facing up against each other.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll
be
fun.
That's going to be a good matchup. So I'm looking to see that as well, and I'm looking Connecticut's backcourt, like Natisha Heidemann, for example. This was the biggest role she's had all year. Because Jasmine Thomas is still hope. From what I've heard, she's been back on the court. After her ACL tear, excuse me. So I'm curious to see how that backcourt will look against Las Vegas's backcourt. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
First of all, I've said it already. I'm a big fan of Courtney Williams. So I'm excited. I watched her on the Dream last year, and I said she needs to be on a championship contender. They got her on one, and she's in the finals. So I'm happy for Courtney Williams. I was thought came to my mind while you were going through that is, and I think this could be the difference in this finals, and it's how a team responds, whether it's Connecticut or Las Vegas. Yep. How a team responds when the worst goes against them. And I want to go back to the Connecticut series where they were at their lowest, and the coach was saying, "Oh, I'm going to lose my job if we can't make a layup," and like they're going to be, and the team chemistry looked horrible. Nobody wanted to be there, and it looked like they were on the out and they were going to blow it up. So that team is in the finals. You look on the other side. Las Vegas and Seattle play in probably the best series of basketball, and one of those games was probably the best basketball we've seen all season. In Game 3, I believe.
Yep.
What happens at the end of that game? Sue Bird hits a game clinching three.
Yep.
With 0.8 of a second to go. Did Vegas sulk? Did Vegas give up? Or did Vegas stay composed? Vegas stayed composed. They didn't flinch at all. None of those players had their heads down. They all had their heads cocked right up and said we still had the very confidence that they were going to win. And all they needed to do was force overtime. And they did it. Coach Hammond drew up amazing out of timeout plays, and they forced overtime, and then they won in overtime. That's going to be one of the differences in this series. Who will stay composed and who will sulk in the lowest of moments in the clinchings of a game. And that's what separates the championship contenders from the pretenders.
Come on now. There you go.
Like Vegas is the closest team to a championship team that's not named the Seattle Storm. They are the closest, and another big huge factor on this team in this series for Vegas's side is their best player is not the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Chelsea Gray. If Chelsea Gray makes the All-Star team, we're probably not seeing Vegas in the finals.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yep. I mean, I just think that we I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head, and I think the key is who's going to want it more, who's going to impose their will.
No doubt Vegas will want this more. You look at what Seattle did to them in the bubble. Look at what happened the next year. This team wants it the most out of probably anybody else in the league.
No, I mean, I think Connecticut also wants it too, because I mean they lost to us in Washington 5 games 2019. I mean, the Vegas is 0-2 and Connecticut's 0-3. I think the Atlanta Dream and the New York Liberty are also the only 4 teams to not have a championship as well. So it's going to come down to who imposing their will and who wants it more. Game 1, I think we set it our keys. I'm going to say the Connecticut Sun are going to come out game 1 and punch Las Vegas in the mouth. I'm looking along the lines of 87-80.
Guaranteed.
Man, I wanna pick Vegas. And I also want to pick Connecticut because I know if I do and Connecticut wins, then I know Vegas is going to come back and that one loss. It's just going to be like the Seattle series. They're just going to bounce back and figure it out. Because another key in this series is if Vegas figures you out, you're done. There's no way. I am going to pick the Las Vegas Aces 97-85.
Guaranteed.
In game one.
Right. I get you. Also, I'm curious to see how that small ball lineup is going to look against Connecticut too. I want to see that small ball lineup.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it goes to 5 games.
Guaranteed.
Oh, all right. You're giving Connecticut a chance here.
Yep.
What happened last series against Chicago?
I think like listening to Alyssa Thomas and Brianna Jones, like you still got a good remnants of those that were on the 2019 team. Like they were on a mission. Both teams are on a mission. But it's going to come down to, I think Connecticut defensively, I'm so of the mindset that defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And I mean, they do have to be more efficient on offense. But I think the physics, you just saw Chicago just kind of worn down. And I just want to see if Becky Hammond is going to make those adjustments on the offensive side, where you might have to, put another big in the lineup or have Asia in the post more, something. So.
Yeah. I think any team that has Chelsea Gray on it has a good chance to win. So that's the one player in these playoffs, and that's watching her in that Seattle series where I just stood shell shocked and that's the first player where it absolutely impressed me. So, and a little side note, if Chelsea Gray and Courtney Williams getting a fight for the ball on a jump ball, ain't no way Courtney Williams coming up with that one. No. Ain't no way.
But just like just a few minutes left. Just give your outlook on the series. Where do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I think the Vegas Aces win the series in four games. And uh, I said it as soon as the Storm season ended. If the Aces win this series, the Finals MVP will not be A'ja Wilson. It will be Chelsea Gray.
Guaranteed.
I agree with 100%, buddy. I definitely agree with that. Definitely Finals MVP. If Connecticut wins, Finals MVP is Alyssa Thomas.
Guaranteed.
I'll give mine as well if Connecticut wins. Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams, that's what I'm going with.
Guaranteed.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually, that is it. I mean, that's the finals preview for game one, the finals preview, and also to game one. Game one is coming on tomorrow. Be tuned. I mean, we're going to be tuned in for future episodes. We're going to check back after game one. I'll give our thoughts on the game. It's going to be really interesting. I'm super excited. It was just a crazy that game 5. It was crazy. I think that's Las Vegas and Seattle was the most watched game of any series of any games throughout the league. So, Brenden, appreciate you being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. Be on the lookout for those other episodes coming at you soon. Brenden, closing message.
Yeah, I mean, love thy neighbor as thyself. Like you gotta treat everyone with respect, treat everyone with kindness and love, and you never know what people are going through. So,
yep, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I'm gonna go along with that. Treat others with respect, because that goes a long way. And the best way to do that is show kindness and just be respectful, but also to just do something to make the world a better place.
Could I say one more thing before we go?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Huge thank you to Sue Bird and Brianne January for all you've done for the game of basketball, and Sue for all you've done for Seattle. Trust me when I say we love you. She gave a big biggest thing for me. I wasn't at the media availability after the game, but she thanked every single media member that was there and on Zoom, although she didn't technically see us on Zoom.
Right.
that was really cool. They don't have to do that, and Sue Bird did that. So we love you, Sue. We've loved you for 20 years. You are Seattle basketball, and you are Seattle. You really are, and we love you and thank you for 20 amazing years with the Storm organization.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, peace out.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.